You are now listening to Just Another Year Chicago with your host, Nic Roti. Hello everyone, and welcome back to this Sunday's edition of Just Another Year Chicago. I'm Nic Roti, and today I am here to talk about what every Bears fan is feeling right now. Embarrassed could be a word, humiliated, same thing, another word, sad, pain, you name it. Bears fans all over the world are just in pain right now. As many of you know, if you're here usually, the Bears lost to the New Orleans Saints 21-9 in the first round of the NFC playoffs. The Bears barely made the playoffs, but there was a lot of hope. The Bears had nothing to lose, but they lost a lot more today than just a game. Today's episode is strictly over the Chicago Bears, so if you were interested in hearing about the Chicago Bulls or Chicago Blackhawks, as the Bulls are doing really well lately, the Blackhawks are starting up on Wednesday. Please tune in to next episode. This episode today is strictly over the Chicago Bears. Especially in how their season ended against the New Orleans Saints and what's next. So before we get into anything, please remember to hit that subscribe button. Comment on this video how you're feeling. I guarantee you we're all feeling the same thing. For those who follow me on Twitter, I was going ballistic during the game today, so I know you guys were too. So thank you for all the replies. Speaking of Twitter, follow me at Chicago Nic, at Chicago Nic, no K. And I do follow back, but I also do subscribe back on here. So let's just get into it. Chicago Bears obviously lost today, 21-9. Really, it was 21-3 thanks to a last-minute drive to make the score not look as embarrassing, and Mitch Trubisky trying to beef up his resume because his days in Chicago are over. Let's just put that out of the gate. There was a report that came out this morning that if Mitch Trubisky did not win this playoff game, Mitch Trubisky would be released from the Chicago Bears. He was in the last year of his contract, which the Bears declined his fifth-year option. That would have been next year. So it looks like the Mitch Trubisky era in Chicago is over. Am I upset about it? Yes, because Mitch Trubisky is a great guy. He's got the personality, he's got the leadership, he's got the confidence of an NFL quarterback off the field. But on the field, it just didn't work out. There's opportunities to get Deshaun Watson this upcoming offseason. We'll get into that later, but overall, just to start off the podcast, the Mitch Trubisky era is over. Thank you, Mitch, for all that you did. It was a lot of fun at moments. It was very frustrating at others, but best of luck to you in the future if you are to leave the Chicago Bears. Just wanted to give that one just out of the gate. It's kind of heartbreaking because there was so much emotion behind Mitch Trubisky, moving up to pick him in a draft where Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes were in there. Both are elite NFL quarterbacks now. Trubisky is average at best. On a good day, he was hot at the end of the season, but, I wanted to start that off. But first half football, it was the game was fun in the first half. Let's just put that out there. The game was fun. It was 7-3 entering halftime. The Saints scored early with a Michael Thomas touchdown. The Bears got a field goal from Santos. And the Bears could have had a touchdown. And I'm not going to put this in here because everyone knows what I'm talking about. Wims, number 83, Bears wide receiver, was wide open in the touchdown. And it literally hit him in between the 8 and the 3 on his chest. And he just dropped the ball. As you know, Wims started a fight against the New Orleans Saints last time that we played this team. That could have been like him saying, hey, I'm here, let's go. But also would have been a great momentum move for the Chicago Bears. As we know, they don't score touchdowns. Wims just blatantly dropped it. There was no explanation for it. The announcers heard it. I was on the ground in my living room just in shock, kind of like when Cody Parkey double doinked. So Wims will also be out the door. But a very, very slow half for both teams. Just one touchdown by the Saints, one field goal by the Bears. The defenses were playing great on both sides of the ball. The Bears' defense actually was playing very well. They were stopping Drew Brees. They were stopping Kamara. They were stopping Michael Thomas and Sean Payton's offense as a whole. It was nice to see. They were getting pressure on Brees. But the Bears defense was out there for 3/4 of the game over the offense. And you could tell in the second half that the Bears defense was exhausted. So that's why the first half was a good game. There was, again, opportunities on offense to score touchdowns, but just super slow. And the officiating this entire game was horrendous. There was a lot of missed calls in the first half. No holding on Khalil Mack or Robert Quinn, especially in the second half. I'll get to that in a little bit. A horrible call for unsportsmanlike conduct on Cole Kmet. Let the clock run down while Mitch Trubisky's trying to get his offense up, and they're telling him, hang on, wait 1 minute, while the play clock is running. So Mitch Trubisky is now losing time. They've done this before to him in the past, so something's up with the refs in the Chicago Bears. I know that's something that you never really want to hit on as, a podcaster, but the refs were horrendous today. And anyone watching, no matter if you're a Packers fan, you were watching, you could even be like, wow, these refs suck. So it was something going on there. There was a lot of missed calls. There was no calls for the Saints. There was a lot of missed calls on the Bears. Cole Kmet, I agree with you, man. You didn't do anything wrong. That defender was looking over you and jawing at you. You got up and you gave the ball to the official, and the official thought you were throwing it at Jenkins. So just overall, horrible officiating today. And then just super slow. Again, the Wims drop just took the air out of the Bears offense. There was some air in there. The Bears offense was clicking. It was a flea flicker that went from Anthony Miller to Cordell Patterson back to Mitch Trubisky to a wide open Wims in the end zone. Big receiver on small corner, just blatantly dropped it. The play before, Wims had a fantastic catch, dragging his feet, making a very difficult catch for any wide receiver to get the Bears downfield. So you just can't do that. Something else that I think a lot of fans could agree on, that's something that I noticed, was that the Chicago Bears seemed like they had two play callers. Matt Nagy's, ego kicked in for sure and was affecting Bill Lazor's play calling. David Montgomery was barely used in this entire game. A lot of quick passes, a lot of slant passes. What we saw from Nagy, the flea flicker looked like something from Bill Lazor. So this isn't high school football. You can't just do slants all the time. The defense is going to pick it up. Just overall, very, very slow. The defense did well in the first half. At least the front seven did. I would say Gibson in the secondary did well. But, man, Eddie Jackson did not show up for this ball game today. He's had a really rough year. Eddie Jackson was a premier Pro Bowler for the Chicago Bears, like the next safety of the future. Everyone was super excited because he was a fourth-round pick from Alabama. Total steal, and he did not play well at all today. There was a couple plays where he looked like a deer in the headlights he wasn't even going after and tackling someone. He was waiting for them to come to him. And when you're stopped and you're not moving and the momentum is to the offensive player, guess what? The offensive player is going to win. He's going to go around Eddie Jackson, and that happened plenty of times in the first half and in the second half. Eddie Jackson did not look like a Pro Bowl defender today, and that was something that was super missed. Gibson, on the other hand, created plays. There was an interception in the beginning by Shelley, which, the Bears could have been given that call considering how bad the officiating was. But again, back to that, how bad the officiating was, they weren't giving the Bears anything today. Duke Shelley he caught the ball. He had control, but the tip did hit the ground, so technically it's an incompletion. But was also changing the momentum of the game. And then Gibson started up with a pick that John Jenkins, number 90, big defensive lineman, ended up picking off. And there was momentum for the Bears defense. They felt good. They felt like they were confident again. Something that we've been missing the last couple of weeks and why the defense hasn't been performing. So just crazy opportunities that the Bears weren't able to take advantage of. Robert Quinn was making pressure today. That was good to see. He didn't have any sacks. Khalil Mack technically had a sack today, but it was brought back due to a defensive holding call on Duke Shelley. And then Hicks was all up in Kamara's face, even though Kamara ended up almost having 100 yards against us today. So, again, super slow first half, but the second half, completely different. There was a huge, and I tweeted this, and it looks like a lot of you guys ended up noticing it. There was a missed holding call on Robert Quinn, where literally the New Orleans offensive lineman had him wrapped up around and threw him. And Quinn's like, "Where's the penalty?" But then he still ran off after it wasn't Kamara, it was their second string running back for a touchdown. You cannot give up a call like that, and the official was right there for it. Completely missed call, holding on Robert Quinn, and that took the air out of the Bears defense. I'm going to say this a million times more. The refs wanted New Orleans to win today. The NFL knows that Tom Brady, Drew Brees, oldest quarterback matchup in playoff history, both quarterbacks over 40 years old, playing against each other. They wanted it for the money because this is Brees last year. Brady's could be last year, depending on if he gets a bad hit or anything. I think Tom Brady will be back next year, though. But overall, just horrendous officiating today. And it was an embarrassment for them, too. The NFL, you're going to hear tomorrow that there was, that shouldn't have been a penalty, and, we missed that call. And the Bears would have had momentum changers. Overall, just horrendous. But the second half overall, there was no David Montgomery again. This is what I mean by Matt Nagy calling plays. There was no versatility with him. He wasn't able to run around and do what he usually does for the Chicago Bears and make plays for himself. It was runs up the gut. There was never a run to the outside on either side of the ball. And there was opportunity there too. You see that the middle is all clogged up. Break it to the outside, Montgomery. And Matt Nagy, being himself, probably was like, nope, do not do that. So just horrendous. I mean, just the game itself was just so frustrating to watch. There were so many times when the Bears had so much momentum and they just couldn't put it together. Speaking of that, you can't blame the front seven of this defensive unit, though. They played great, even though Mack only had one sack that got taken back and he only had 4 quarterback pressures. He was making plays on running backs. Hicks was making plays. Quinn was making plays. Brent Urban was making plays. Danny Trevathan was doing what he could. You had Manti Te'o out there who has been on the practice squad all year. And he was in for Roquan Smith. And he was the next man up. And he played pretty decent. I hope that the Bears give him a small contract just to have a depth because Josh Woods is not the answer. He's a good special teamer, don't get me wrong. But overall, you can't do that. So I think the front seven did great. But the secondary, man, I don't know what happened today. Very embarrassing. There was just no pride. And Eddie Jackson again, literally, I'm one of his biggest fans. I have an autographed picture of him scoring against Detroit up in my office. I have a jersey. I'm a big Eddie Jackson fan. I've always been defensive of him. But he did not show out today. Same with Chuck Pagano. There was way too much conservative plays, and he blitzed at the wrong moments. Overall, just there's a lot coming for this team. So just to put it all away, Bears had some bad officiating towards them and weren't ever able to do anything on offense. So the Bears are done. They're out. They made the playoffs the last 2 out of 3 years. Great, but man, they're about to clean house. So I'm gonna jump into that. I know this is only about 13 minutes in. This is definitely a shorter podcast, but there's nothing much to say. And anyone that gets more deep into it, no one wants to hear it. So positives. You have Santos now. We have a kicker now. Great. We have a couple of good linemen coming up next year. We're going to get James Daniels back. We have Sam Mustipher at center. We have Whitehair at guard. Great. Our tackles are definitely up in the air. We're probably going to end up, drafting a few different tackles this year. I think our first round pick is going to be on a left tackle, hopefully. So more to come on that. Jimmy Graham. I'm just going to go in my order that I wrote on my list, and then I'm going to hit more into it. So first things first, Ryan Pace is fired Monday, or even today, or even tomorrow. Ryan Pace, unfortunately, will be let go from the Chicago Bears. He did a great job at building a talented team, but he made bad moves that held this team from getting there. Wasted a lot of guys' primes. I've defended Ryan Pace forever. You can ask my mentor, Brandon. And Brandon, if you're listening, we had this talk from about midnight to 2 a.m. a couple nights ago. But Ryan Pace put together a good team, but he unfortunately missed on key positions, the quarterback and the head coach. He drafted great players, though. Roquan Smith, Leonard Floyd, who's doing absolutely fantastic over in L.A. Then again, he does have a chip on his shoulder. He's trying to make some more money. He doesn't have a big contract. But anyway, Ryan Pace will be gone. I will do an entire segment on Ryan Pace's overall time here in Chicago, but more to come on that. But he is the first to go. Second, Chuck Pagano will also be fired. You cannot have that much talent on defense and play that bad. You need a guy like Vic Fangio back. You need a guy to come in and make this defense scary again with what you have on paper. You still have one of the most talented defenses on paper, and you're not getting sacks with Khalil Mack or Robert Quinn or any of these guys. Chuck Pagano, you're a great guy off the field. You have a great story, but I think that your Bears days are over. Third, I said this earlier, Mitch Trubisky will be released. It has been reported, and not confirmed, but reported, that if he did not win today, he is very likely to go. I would love to see Mitch come back. The Bears are not going to get a good draft pick for a quarterback. Who else are you going to have? Dak is going to go back to the Dallas Cowboys. We don't have enough capital unless we trade for Deshaun Watson, but then he's walking into another Houston Texans team with talent all over, but not consistent talent that's going to make a team good. Deshaun Watson did follow 2 weathermen this week. Awesome, great. Chicago weathermen this week. Awesome, great. I think it's just a little bit of a tease, but I don't think that Deshaun Watson will come here. I would love for Deshaun Watson to come here, but if the Bears don't have the opportunity to get anyone else, they're going to keep Mitch. Ted Phillips also reported is going to retire after this season. Not much to say there. He's put together, he's made some very questionable decisions for this franchise. So Ted Phillips, best of luck to you in retirement. That's all I'm going to say. Anthony Miller will be cut. There is no doubt about that. He has no respect for anyone. He thinks he's an elite wide receiver. He was good in college, but for you to push your head coach, and I don't care if you come out with a report saying, I did not push Matt Nagy. You pushed him on national television. Disrespect your head coach. And Nagy, all he could do was just turn around and be like, this guy's done. I'm probably done too, but this guy's done. So Anthony Miller will also be cut. This is just predictions. This is not confirmed, but this is very likely to happen. A lot of people are saying that Jimmy Graham may retire after today's game. What a way to end, though, on a one-handed snag over 2 defenders to score the only Bears touchdown. And the Bears just say, we're not even going to kick the extra point field goal because there's no point. Jimmy Graham, I'm going to miss him. I was a fan of the Jimmy Graham signing from the beginning. I think that, we needed that for Cole Kmet, but we also needed that veteran experience. If we could have had Jimmy Graham 2 years ago on the 2018 team, I don't know. I think the Bears definitely would have had an even better offense. So best of luck to you, Jimmy Graham. You're a great guy on and off the field. Love your attitude, but I hope you stay to keep mentoring Cole Kmet and also whoever our next quarterback is. This one definitely hurts the most. I think that even though we can franchise tag him, Allen Robinson will be gone. He has no interest of coming back to the Chicago Bears team. How much of a mess this franchise is, even though they made the playoffs the last 2 or 3 years. They have a young lineup. They have, young playmakers. Excuse my hair. They have a good defense if they don't get rid of anybody and they bring in a good defensive coordinator, but Allen Robinson has just been disrespected by this Bears team. And they also didn't even throw to him this game. That was another thing, is that Allen Robinson was not utilized at all today. We don't have Darnell Mooney. Who's your best receiver over Darnell Mooney anyway? Allen Robinson. And you're not going to use him? That's just the Bears, sticking it to Robinson saying, nah, we're done with you anyway. We're not going to pay you. Because the Bears are cheap. Unless the next GM comes in, first thing that he's doing is calling Allen Robinson, like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that you stay in this city. And if I have to franchise tag you in order to pay you the big bucks next year, please bear with me. Will Robinson do it? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that he's gone. And finally, even though his job was said to be safe, Matt Nagy is also gone. You cannot walk into a playoff game and lose that bad, have completely no offense, and you're the offensive guru? No. Matt Nagy is going to be fired. I saved that one for last because people are like, his job is safe. No one's job is safe in the NFL, even if you say it's safe. If you have that bad of a game, clean house. Fire everybody. Get rid of them all. Talk to the players. Hey, you want to stay or you want to go? They say you want to go. Get a bunch of first-round draft picks. Make this team absolutely stacked with young talent. Let them learn. Let next year be a rebuilding year because the Bears have one of the hardest schedules in the NFL next year. I'm not going to pull it up right now. I can get more into that when I talk about pace in the next episode or the next Chicago Bears episode. But, man, it's going to be a mess of an offseason. There's going to be a lot of reports. A lot of Bears pages are like, see you guys next year. You guys are going to have a busy offseason, including myself. But 20 minutes, I think I hit on pretty much everything that Bears fans are feeling right now. I know that I am feeling absolutely sad, pain. I had a lot of hope walking into this game. I thought it was going to be more competitive. It was competitive in the first half. Javon Wims, man. That was, there's nothing to say. You have to catch the ball. You have to catch the ball in the end zone because you have to score touchdowns in order to win games. This NFL is not based around field goals. You get field goals for cushion points. You don't get field goals to try to take the lead. It was Cody Parkey 2.0. I don't even know what to say. Now I'm frustrated thinking about it. Let's see. Did I get a notification that he's got? Nope. Nothing yet. Nothing yet on if Nagy's or Pace is fired or not. But Virginia McCaskey, overall, as a Bears fan, you can't hate the woman. She owns the franchise. She's the daughter of Hallis. But overall, man, she is so influential on history, for business, for women, for everything. You have to respect what she has. And the Bears, not to put up a fight to try to win a play. I mean, she's 98. Not a lot of people live past 85. You know? You got to... She's going to kick it. I mean, she's going to do what she can to make sure she's around next year. But, man, the Bears should have brought her at least a playoff win. I would have loved to have gone to Green Bay and lost like this, to be honest. As weird as that sounds, I would have rather have lost to the Packers than the Saints. Excuse me. Than this. Quiet podcast. I know, very dull. The game was draining. I think that everyone is feeling that way. But more to come later this week on the Bears. I hope this wasn't a boring podcast for you guys. I know everyone's just like, fire everybody, clear house. It's going to be like that. It's going to be, and if it's not like that this offseason, then I don't know. I think that the Bears have a good shot at trading Khalil Mack. I think they have a good shot at trading Kyle Fuller. I think they have a good shot at trading Eddie Jackson. Roquan Smith is the only untouchable on this Bears team. And I would say Santos, too. I would say Roquan Smith, David Montgomery, Darnell Mooney, Santos, Mustafa are all untouchables on this team. Everyone else? Sorry. Blau Nichols, maybe that too, but I'm just ranting at this point. Well, I'm just going to wrap everything up. I want you guys to comment on this video, what you guys are thinking. Who do you think's going to stay? Who do you think's going to go? Let's hear it. It was a lot of fun this Bears season. I know you start off 5-1, you go on a 6-game skid, you win 3 in a row, and then you lose out, but still make the playoffs. Bears fans are tired, so go get a good night's rest. I appreciate all you guys listening to my ranting about the Bears, but now the focus, like I said before, is going to start being on dividing up episodes, whether they're 5 minutes or whether they're 10 minutes. I'm going to try to focus on just one team per episode. So next episode, I'm going to be hitting on the Chicago Bulls. And then by Wednesday, hopefully there'll be some Blackhawks news. There's not a lot going on with the NHL because already teams are dealing with horrible COVID cases. The Dallas Stars don't even have enough players to start until a week after. So I believe it's the 19th. At minimum, the Dallas Stars can start. So who knows when the NHL is really going to begin their season. But definitely next episode is going to be on the Chicago Bulls. So please stay tuned for that. But with that, that's this Sunday's episode. This is the last Bears episode of the 2020-2021 season. There's going to be a lot of information coming up, especially on the Bears with all their offseason moves. Monday, I might even make an episode, so stay tuned for that. But I'll take a deeper dive into everything later this week. It's just time to decompress, time to understand that we made the playoffs the last 2 or 3 years. Awesome, but change is coming. So with that, please remember to hit that subscribe button. Please remember to follow me on Twitter @ChicagoNick. Please comment on this video, your thoughts, and let's continue to talk sports. It's been a lot of fun this Bears season, but I'm excited for the Bulls and Blackhawks. And then before we know it, the Cubs and White Sox will be playing. So thank you very much, everyone, for tuning into this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. I'm Nic Roti, and everyone have a good night.